Hey everybody, today I'm going to do a product review for the Scenics line by TTCombat or trolltrader. These are kits that I have recently purchased. This is not a sponsored video in any way. I've both purchased these directly from the TTCombat website, and essentially these were built by me recently, and I have three kits. I have the fast food store, that fast food store extension, and then also the Lincoln building. Now, I did actually build 3 of the fast food stores and 3 of the extensions and then 1 of the building. That does sort of influence my review a little bit, because where I talk about specific issues, I can talk about whether they were duplicated across multiple kits on these. What I'll do is I'll go to the free cam and just show a little bit of my board and these kits that I've already built. So here's my table currently with the 3 kits that I've built. I elected to use the fast food stores, not as fast food stores as they're marketed. I didn't put the signs on, but really it's just generic buildings for a downtown scenario. Because the TTCombat extension can be done without the staircase, which they do have a nice looking staircase that you can put on your middle section. This is sort of the building and kit without it. This is with the roof, an additional section that does not have that kit or the staircase, as well as one with the staircase on the main floor. And then I have one that is sort of how it's intended, where you have your roof and building, and with one extension with this which comes with it. I'll talk a bit about the extension and fast food store first. Initially, these really were a pleasure to build. They're fairly easy to build. Didn't take much time at all. There is some nice little details. The windows do have window frames that you put on the inside on each window, so there's a fair bit, except for the store windows. Both sides, this goes for the extension as well. That would go in between with the staircase in the back. You know, there's some nice detailing of some glass doors. They also provide some extras where you have tables, which I'm going to use as park tables. I'm going to rough them up and make them look like concrete park tables, but they were actually meant to be inside the store here, as well as a countertop that you can have for like a fast food store, which I won't be using. And so there are some little bits of extras, which were nice, and it really is a solid kit. With one hand here, it's sort of difficult for me to take the top off, but I can show to the best of my ability here. I'll try to show the inside of one of these. There we go. So it's fairly plain on the inside, so if you're looking for a lot of detail, you will be disappointed. It is fairly plain, but it is a really affordable building. Now, as I mentioned in another video when I first received these, I found these buildings to be very good on the affordability scale. Like I felt, and this will change depending on who you're looking at and comparing to, but I really felt that I was getting a lot of value with my money with these and able to create a downtown scene at a fairly affordable cost compared to some of the other MDF kits. That was very important to me, and like I mentioned in another video, the delivery and the packaging were very, very good. Like, I've never received anything from the UK to North America as fast as TTCombat, and the packaging was very, very good. I had no complaints about the packaging. One thing I will say, my most disappointing thing about TTCombat's, my experience with them, is that although the buildings themselves fit together very well, and I'm going to just spin this around so you can see it in the light, what I found is the stairwell, these notches that are in here that these pieces fit into, so they're square pegs, I had to Dremel all 4 sides of each one on both sides for 2 stairwells that I was going to do. These pegs here on both kits, there was no difference, were almost a whole order of magnitude oversized for this square hole that they're meant to go in. This wasn't, in my opinion, a thing about experience with modeling. This wasn't just sanding it slightly, just slightly oversized. This was absolutely made incorrectly in its design. Because I used a Dremel, it happened faster. If I had to use sandpaper, it would take forever. It would have taken forever. And so I definitely think that that was a negative, and it was a bit of a frustration point. And with a little bit of modeling skill, some glue, sanding it down and just making it happen, it worked out fine. But I think some people would be very, very frustrated with it. And so if you have like a low tolerance for that kind of stuff, you might want to think twice. Yeah. And so beyond that, one of the differences that I would also say is that throughout all of the kits that I've tried, including the Lincoln building, the actual attachments of the pieces for the model to the sprue of MDF were definitely larger. And what I mean by that is I'm used to it where they just sort of pop off fairly easily, and there may be a little bit of a divot that you have to sand slightly. But in many cases, with all of the TTCombat kits, the perforations in some cases were just as strong as the wood sprue, the MDF sprue they were on, so you could risk damaging fragile components. And so you have to be really, really careful. And I actually ended up, as I was going through my models, I ended up dremeling every single spot with a, just sort of a circular stone. Every single spot that I would have broken off the piece from the sprue. And so, again, that's a time piece, and that may be a big frustration piece for some. Not only in your ability to potentially damage the model, but also the amount of work that you're going to have to put into building the kit. So, on the whole, the fast food, both extension and the stores themselves, I do like. I would recommend them. I think it just keep in mind those issues that I'd mentioned. I think from a value perspective, you're getting a lot for your buck. Really good service, as far as I'm concerned so far from TTCombat. As far as I did not have any issues that I'd complained about that I needed response to, but if you consider really, really fast delivery and good packaging, good service, then I consider that to be very good. I also really like the configurability of these particular kits, where I can make them different stories and add some different levels of height to the city that I'm doing, even though there are 3 of the same kits. So lastly, I also got what I would consider to be one of the more premium kits in this range of the city Scenix, and that's the Lincoln building. Now, the Lincoln building, although it did also have the same issues as far as the attachment to the sprue that I'd mentioned before, there was not one instance where I had the issues with the staircases in the back fitting in. And so I had no problems where things just did not fit, that I had to use modeling skills to get them to fit appropriately. So that was a positive for this building. The building fit together really well. I really, really like the extras, I like the details, I should say, of the windows, the air conditioning units, even the doorway that you have in there is really nice. It adds a really nice bit of height to the table. It was very affordable compared to relatively sized kits by other manufacturers. And one of the things that was really nice on it was it had a really nice, fire escape that has both ladders, your actual escape itself. And this went together really, really well compared to the other one that I just mentioned. That's of a different style, that sort of just backdoor exit. This snapped together very well. it fits extremely snug, very perfectly in here. As a matter of fact, it took a little bit getting in because it fits snug, but actually it fits so well that I wasn't even really worried. Like, I used glue, but like a lot of its snugness is going to keep it very stable and sturdy. I'm pretty confident of that. So it adds a really nice look to the side of the building that makes it very much look like a city building. And so yeah, like I would say with this building, it's completely empty. And so, it's not something that you would be using for internal aspects of war gaming where you might have somebody going into the building. But it adds a really nice piece to the table with some height and, a good piece of terrain to give that downtown feel. So, what I would say overall is I would rate the value and service component to be very good from TTCombat. I think that the designs are very nice, but I think having not put together all of their kits and seeing some variability already within a couple of them of the same line, I think you need to be a little prepared to maybe do a little bit of modeling in some instances and to deal with being very careful in the way you take these off of the sprues as compared to some other companies that I've used where I felt that they came off much cleaner. So I think you have to balance those things, but I would rate this as a line that I would recommend, just given that your tolerance level for those issues that I've mentioned is acceptable. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching, and take care.